26,
It's crazy.
19,
12.
and 23.
Okay. Let me put those in an actual order that makes sense. Give me a second.
The state doesn't intend to publish one, excuse me, Your Honor.
Okay, all right, stop. My understanding, I just wrote down I know that, because I got which one, but you intend to tender them, and so and there is an objection, and so I have to rule on whether I'm going to admit them. Okay, so I'm only going to be asking you about the ones that you intend to tender but not publish, because there's not an objection to the ones that you intend to publish. So tell me why the ones that I'm going to ask you about are both relevant and not cumulative, why you need them. Okay, well, 1 and 4 honestly look like the same picture.
And, Your Honor, as I'm looking at it, if the court wants me to remove 4, I can do that. I do not have a problem doing that.
It is not what the court wants or doesn't want, although the court does want attorneys who know how to try a case. But my rulings are based on the rules of evidence, okay? So.
Yo, any of y'all remember that song, I Wanna Rock? What they said? Doodoo Brown. Doodoo Brown. So this is what the state doing. They gonna send Doodoo Brown out here early, first thing of the day, unprepared, not ready for the trial. And with evidence we ain't seen, man.
If you're new, make sure y'all hit that notification bell, that like, share, comment, and subscribe. Grab a seat, we finna dig deep.
What's up, YouTube family? Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Jay. And man, y'all know we definitely got to talk about this Young Thug YSL RICO trial. Now today, I actually started off with the state unprepared and again introducing new evidence that was just released to the defense at the last minute. Now here's the catch. The state has planned on publishing this evidence intended to be used with the next witness coming today. But this evidence is not only compiled at the last minute, but again, given to the defense right before the jury comes in. Now, is it clear to say that the judge is actually over the state's lack of preparation and undermining tactics when it comes to the defense? Now, in this video, we're going to show how lack of preparation prevents poor performance, and also how a witness that's unbiased can actually backfire when it comes to the state's narrative. But before we dig deep, man, y'all make sure y'all hit that like button and continue to help the channel grow. Tap and subscribe if you're not subscribed, and hit that notification bell so you'll get those drops whenever we drop. Y'all ready? Let's dig.
Excuse me, Your Honor. We received some photos intended to be used as exhibits a few minutes ago from the state. I'm sorry. We received some photos the state intends to use as exhibits, I think with this witness. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Do you intend to publish all of those photos?
Is this that 1 through 31 now?
Yes, Your Honor. I believe it should be publishing about 16 or 17 photos of those.
Okay, so for example, there's several that have, there's 4 or 5 with the same firearm. There's another 3 or 4 with the same firearm. Are you going to just publish one of those?
Your Honor, we will publish not all of them. I cannot say right off the top of my head that it should be just 1 or 2 angles of the same.
What is this even about?
I have no idea.
You have no idea
in terms of what the
it's
request
about?
is.
Well,
You have no idea what the photos are about, what this
I
guy's
do
going
know
to
what the
testify
photos are
to?
about. I don't know what the request is about.
Okay.
I understand the request. Tell me what he's going to be testifying to. What is this about? What are the photos
The
of?
photos are photos of the crime scene or the crime
Which
scene.
crime scene?
The
There are all crime
located-
scenes in this case?
I was going to say it, right. It's located at Confederate Avenue and Boulevard Avenue.
Okay,
South.
and 17 is still a lot. Is this actually one of the overt acts, or is this
This is
just?
an overt act.
Okay. And if you are doing several pictures from different angles, is there some reason that the different angles are needed?
Yes, because in some of the photos, some of the items that we've been discussing are not captured, and so the angle will capture it in some pictures and not in some things in the
All
photos
right,
are
I'll
instantly there.
just try to do it, without belaboring anything, please.
And let me also clarify, Your Honor, I'm not only objecting to the publication.
Or, because you started out clarifying, so is there an objection?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, Your Honor.
Sorry, that's my fault. I thought you started out clarifying. Are you now objecting?
I am objecting to the admission as well as the publication of multiple images of the same firearm over
Okay,
repeated.
why don't you get with him and show him which ones you plan to, the publication of or the
Both.
admission of?
Both,
Okay.
Your Honor, they're cumulative.
Okay, this should have been done before now.
Well, they just
Go
came-
get with,
it-
yes, no, I'm not
Okay.
criticizing you. This should have been done before now. Get with the defense and show them the photos, and I don't know if I need to, then you let me know which ones you object to. Sorry about this. We got told we were ready, but turns out we're not.
Am I allowed to sit down, Your Honor?
Yeah. Ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you? Okay.
Okay. So I have gone over with the state the photos they plan on publishing.
Okay.
And I could read those specific ones, but I don't, we've narrowed down the ones that they plan on publishing. So
Okay.
I have no objections to the ones that
Okay.
the state has shown me that they plan on publishing. Excuse me. The other ones that they do not plan on publishing include many photos that are cumulative, they're redundant to others. So any of the ones that they do not plan on publishing that we haven't gone over, I object to the admission of those.
All right, well, you're going to have to be a little more specific.
Okay, then we can-
If they still want to have admitted the ones they're not going to publish.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, well, then I need to know
Okay, then,
what those are.
then I would object to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 22, 24, 25, 28, 30, 31, and they went through 33, correct? 31.
Okay, and so what they are going to publish then is
I could,
12, 19, 21, 23, 26, 27, and 29.
that's my understanding, Your Honor.
Okay.
Your Honor, that would not be correct. Based on,
Okay, which ones are you going to publish?
the state intends to publish 2, 31, 3.
Oh, my God. So could you do them in order, please? 2, 3, 5.
Your Honor, the reason why they're like that is because they are organized by how they will be published, but I can go through.
What are they going to be? 2, 3, 5, 31, what else?
Sure, there are 2, 3, 5, 31, 9, 10, 21, 29, 12, 27, 26,
It's crazy.
19, and 23.
Okay. Let me put those in an actual order that makes sense. Give me a second.
This
To rule
race
on.
should have excluded all of them.
Okay, and so, one,
Okay. So, Your Honor, I'm sorry.
so
Then,
you would object to whichever ones they're not publishing?
yes, Your Honor.
Okay. As cumulative or what?
As either cumulative or not relevant. I mean, I need to sit down and look at the actual photos they sent this morning to be more specific on those. My concern is that there are multiple pictures of the guns, and I do not want the multiple cumulative pictures of those guns
Pull them all
going
up on the
back.
screen so we can all look at them at the same time. So what does one show? Why is one needed?
The state does, just one second. This version of the material. Yeah, thank you.
State thought that was slick.
The state doesn't intend to publish one, excuse me, Your Honor.
Okay, all right, stop. My understanding, I just wrote down I know that.
Correct.
Because I got which one, but you intend to tender them. And so and there is an objection. And so I have to rule on whether I'm going to admit them. Okay, so I'm only going to be asking you about the ones that you intend to tender but not publish because there's not an objection to the ones that you intend to publish. So tell me why the ones that I'm going to ask you about are both relevant and not cumulative, why you need them.
As to the state's exhibit number 1 that the court asked about, this is a crime scene photo that shows another yet angle of that particular area where they stopped. It could be helpful to the jury if it becomes an issue about where in fact the cars were positioned.
Okay, I don't know what this crime is about. So, and this is the very first picture that I am seeing of it.
Yeah,
So
right.
what happened? What was the crime?
No problem, Your Honor. This crime scene was started off as a traffic stop because of a traffic violation.
Okay.
That the officers observed a failure to signal, after which the officers then went to pull over the car through activating their emergency lights.
Okay, so there's a chase and then there's a crash
There's a chase, then there's a crash after.
and then they run out of the car.
Run in separate directions, and those photos could become necessary if there's a disagreement or confusion about which directions in which they.
Okay, and so it's the black car that was the car they were in?
Black boxy car.
And that's where it lands, is up against that guardrail?
That's correct.
Okay. Okay, well, 1 and 4 honestly look like the same picture.
And it do
And,
look at
Your Honor, as I'm
the same
looking at it,
picture.
if the court wants me to remove 4, I can do that. I do not have a problem doing that.
It is not what the court wants or doesn't want, although the court does want attorneys who know how to try a case. But my rulings are based on the rules of evidence, okay? So is that the same photo?
It is not the same photo.
Is it almost
Is it
the
or is
same
it
photo?
not?
In my estimation, no, Your Honor.
I guess you
a
gotta
closer
use the
view
word
gives more
similar.
perspective as to what is in that photo.
Which one do you want?
The state would be fine with
It is or
having
it ain't?
photograph number 1.
Okay, and I think that's all of them.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Thank y'all. That should have been done before now. We wasted 20 minutes of the jury's time. Let's get the witness back in.
So yeah, he deserved every piece of straightening that he actually just got from the judge this morning. It is good to actually see that somebody is trying to actually hold the state accountable and get this case back on track. Now what's interesting was he was actually going to come in with the evidence. She asked a question, what is this evidence? And you respond, I don't know. Why would the state send him up here like this? Because this is another example of how the state was going to use compiled evidence that they introduced at the last minute that the defense has no recollection of, just to try to paint and shape their narrative. Cumulative, repetitive, redundant. One incident, 40 witnesses. One car, 50 pictures. Make it make sense. Now what's interesting is how we jumped straight in. The state actually came with their first witness, an ATF agent. Now this agent's correlation or connection with the actual case is that he was actually one of those that was involved in a high-speed chase with two of the defendants that are actually on trial. Let's dig.
All right, has your memory been refreshed?
Yes, sir.
What was the description of the passengers that you obtained from that from this incident?
The occupants of the vehicle were both wearing black clothing.
And do you have any other descriptors about them?
I believe the passenger was wearing a black shirt and black pants, and the driver was described as wearing a black hoodie and black pants.
What was their race?
Both were black males.
What is their gender?
Black males.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, I missed that. And did you later come to obtain an identity for these individuals?
Yes, we did.
And what was the identity of the driver?
The driver was Mr. Diamante Kendricks.
And what was the identity of the passenger?
The passenger was Mr. Martinez Arnold.
And as these passengers, as Mr. Kendrick and Mr. Arnold are fleeing on foot, did you ever give any verbal commands to them?
Yes, I was chasing behind Mr. Arnold, and I did give him verbal commands to stop.
Did they stop?
No.
And I should say, did they stop at your command?
No, they did not stop at my command.
And as you gave chase to Martinez Arnold, can you describe where he went during this chase? Is there any location that you followed him to?
When he fled south on Flat Shoals, he dipped in behind the houses to the left, went behind one of the properties there, one of the houses, chased him to about a fence. He hopped the fence. At that time, when he jumped over the fence, he stumbled and fell. Me with all my gear on, it takes us a little longer to get over a fence. Couldn't see his hands, so I used my city-issued taser to try and stop him. The first time I fired it, it was ineffective. It didn't make good connection. The second time I fired it, it did make good connection, basically making him immobilized and giving me time to get over the fence to apprehend him. All right, when I searched him, I found in his front pocket would have been approximately 6.6 grams of suspected marijuana, and his right front change pocket of his pants was a small round pill with the markings 230 on it, which was suspected oxycodone. And then in his, I guess in the rest of his pants or his person, we also located $45.40 and a cell phone and a cell phone charger.
Did you ever see your partner again?
When I returned to the car, my partner was not there. He was still chasing.
Did he ever apprehend the driver, Mr. Kendrick?
Yes, he did.
And do you know if force was used to apprehend him?
I believe he did use his taser to apprehend him.
And was he injured as a result of the chase and pursuit? That being Mr. Kendrick?
I do not know if he was injured or not.
Do you know if Mr. Kendrick was searched incident to his arrest?
Section on counsel speculation.
I don't know.
I don't know if you
Overruled.
don't know whether he has personal knowledge.
I mean, when it says, do you know? Personal knowledge, please.
Do you have personal knowledge of Mr. Kendrick was searched incident to arrest?
I did not search him. It would have been my partner.
And was there any other, do you recall if, when seeing Mr. Kendrick, him having any kind of garments around his neck?
I can't say that I remember, no.
Would you have detailed that, would that have been detailed in the report?
It may have been.
Would you please take a moment to look at it and then look back up if you when you remember something?
I'm going to check that things with the box of hearsay.
No, Your Honor. That would be hearsay.
Opinion with the outside, his personal knowledge, in order to testify, you can see him.
Your Honor, he was personally at the scene.
Overruled.
Around or about it?
Yes.
Did you also have an opportunity to look inside?
Yes.
And after you had the opportunity to look inside of the vehicle, did you see anything of evidentiary value to you?
Yes, we did.
What did you see at the time that you looked inside?
There were 2 firearms in plain view in the vehicle, and we ended up calling a crime scene photo technician out to take photos of the vehicle.
Okay. Was there anything else of importance inside of the vehicle that you took note of?
Not before searching it. I mean, we wouldn't know.
Were the firearms loaded or not loaded?
Both firearms were loaded with 1 round in the chamber.
And what type of firearms were located inside?
There was a 40 caliber Smith & Wesson pistol, and there was a 7.62 AK style rifle in the front seat also.
In your training and experience, are you taught to run checks on firearms?
Yes, we are.
And did you do that?
It would have either been me or my partner Munson. Yes.
Okay. And what were the results of any check, if any, of the firearms?
That
Your Honor, hearsay.
Sustained.
Now I'm going to approach you with what has been previously identified as State's Exhibits 1 mm, 2, 3, 5, 8, 9, 10, 12 mm, 13 mm, 19 mm, 20 mm, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 31, all under the phonetic subset of MM. Alphabetical subset MM. Would you take a second? Well, let me ask you this. Have you had a chance to review those exhibits prior to coming to court today?
yes, I did.
And what do you recognize those exhibits to be?
They look to be photos from the crime scene there that the crime scene tech took of them.
And do those photos that you have in your hand now that have been previously identified reflect the crime scene and the things that you testified to earlier as you remember it to be?
Yes, they do.
And do they fairly and accurately depict the crime scene as you remember it to be?
Yes.
Have those photos been changed or altered in any way?
No.
All right.
Now to start, I'm not sure if we actually just witnessed a Tubi movie mock trial rehearsal, or do we actually just listen to a witness testify? Now, we went through all of that this morning just to hear this. Now, to be fair, what I will say is that the ATF agent did say that there was an alleged high-speed chase that involved 2 of the defendants on trial. But ask yourself this, when it comes to the actual RICO, where's the furtherance, where's the motive, where's the conspiracy, where's the organized crime? To get pulled over in the car, people get pulled over all of the time. Now, what's interesting, as you know, with the pattern of behaviors in the history of the state's actual witnessing their narratives, there's always 2 sides to a story. In this situation, man, watch how this attorney comes up and actually shows the other part of the story. Now, after you hear this, ask yourself, which one sounds more believable? The state's narrative, the witness, or the defense? Let's dig.
Good morning. Is it Agent Doherty?
Agent Doherty, yes.
Agent Doherty. Good morning, Agent Doherty. My name is Doug Weinstein. I'm the attorney for Diamante Kendrick.
Sure.
So I have a few questions. You were, as you testified, that you are the person that apprehended Mr. Arnold, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you tased Mr. Arnold in order to apprehend him, correct?
Yes, sir.
Did you knee Mr. Arnold in the back?
I don't recall that.
Did you spit on him?
No.
Would that have been appropriate to do?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Would it have been appropriate if your partner kneed and spit on Mr. Kendrick after tasing him?
I'm objecting the same grounds, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Okay. After this arrest, were you ever called to testify? And I'm speaking specifically regarding my client, Mr. Kendrick. After this arrest, were you ever called to testify at any hearing, trial, or sentencing for Mr. Kendrick?
I don't recall if I was or not.
Are you aware of Mr. Kendrick being sentenced for his possession of a firearm and serving time with regards to this incident?
No, I'm not.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions.
All right. Are there other defense attorneys with questions for this witness?
On behalf of the
All right. Is there any reader?
Yo, stop what you're doing real quick. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It's free. Hit the like button. Share the video. Hit the like button. Let's dig.
Good morning, Investigator Griffin. How are you doing, sir?
Good morning.
Can you tell the jury where did you come in from to testify?
I flew in from the Dallas-Fort Worth area in Texas.
What do you do in that area?
I'm actually a detective for a small agency. The city is called Plano, and I'm currently a detective for that agency.
Now, did you ever work for any other agencies before then?
I did. I started my law enforcement career with the City of Atlanta, Atlanta Police Department. I got hired in April of 2008, and I left the city November 2019.
Now, when you left the department, what were you working? What kind of cases?
At that particular time, I was assigned to the homicide unit, and I was in that unit, in that role for just under 5 years. Before I was assigned to the homicide unit, I was assigned to the Atlanta Police Special Victims Unit as a detective and as a police officer, and I investigated crimes against children.
I wanted to ask you, were you the lead detective on the murder of T.R. Jones?
Yes, I was.
Can you tell the jury how you came to work that case?
Yes. The City of Atlanta Police Department at the time, we had a homicide rotation. It just so happened that I was atop of that rotation. So anytime somebody lost their life, they would call a detective to respond, and it was my turn to actually respond.
What day did you respond?
I believe the date was September 26, 2015.
And when you, where did you go to? Where was the crime scene?
I was initially told to go to the intersection of Hank Aaron and Milton. And when I got to that intersection, of course, I saw an accident. And I think the address that I noted in the police report was 40 Milton Avenue.
Now, when you got on scene, how many victims were there?
At that location, there was only one victim. That was actually a deceased young lady by the name of T.R. Jones. And it was brought to my attention that there were 2 more victims, and they were taken to Grady Hospital.
Who were those 2 other victims?
The 2 other victims, female front passenger, her name was Shakoya Duncan, and the back passenger was Shannon Jackson. Correct. That's the intersection that I was assigned to go to.
I'm going to publish the next exhibit. Can you describe for the jury what we see in this exhibit?
This is an overturned vehicle operated by the decedent, Ms. T.R. Jones. I forget the year, but it was a green in color. I think it was a Mountaineer, Mercury Mountaineer.
Now, when you first responded, did you know any of the facts and circumstances behind what happened?
No. So as it was initially described to me, they thought it was just an accident. As a result, the hit and run unit came and they responded, so they initially processed the crime scene. And then some officers took note of some defects in the rear lift gate. It might have been from a projectile. And as a result, they started looking for shell casings, which they found. And because they found that, that's when they called me and asked that I respond.
What is the handle associated with this account?
It's going to be YFN. YFN. If you can slide it down just a little bit, please.
Can you see it now?
I can. It'll be YFN BC _ Nutlife. NUTLIFE.
And on the left-hand side, who is that a picture of?
That's a picture of the victim, Shannon Jackson.
And is this something from what you just referenced, your report of 29 Triple Delta Papa on the left?
Yes, that's the image from my police report.
And without saying what anything said, was there commentary or comments about this?
There was.
And was the general nature of them positive or negative?
Jay, I know it doesn't about this. What about?
Sustained.
Was this of concern to you when you saw this?
It was for me, yes.
Why?
One, my police report is now being published on social media. And 2, again, Mr. Shannon Jackson in this particular case was a victim. So that's concerning because they're insinuating something that I didn't appreciate.
May it please court, Your Honor. Investigator Griffin?
Yes, sir.
Good morning. My name is Max Shard. I represent Shannon Stillwell, okay?
Good morning.
Good morning. At some point, I may ask you about the interview, the November 2nd interview with my client.
Okay.
Can I bring up a transcript? I don't want you to read it, but if you need to refer to it, I want you to have it.
I appreciate that.
Thank you. That approach.
You may.
So.
Investigator Griffin, you spoke to my client 3 times in regards to this incident, correct?
That's correct. I did.
All right. And you viewed him as a victim.
Yes, absolutely he is.
And you still view him as a victim?
I still do.
Okay. And on direct, you said you try to be relatable.
Mm-hmm.
In these interviews that are all recorded, you treated Mr. Stillwell with respect, did you not?
I believe so.
Okay, and I appreciate that. Mr. Stillwell treated you with respect, correct?
Yes, he did.
Okay. You tried to be kind to Mr. Stillwell.
Yes, sir.
I want to talk to you about the facts as you understand them based on your investigation and what Shannon told you in that interview.
Yes, sir.
We're talking about Miss Duncan, Miss Jones, and Shannon Stillwell, who you referred to as Shannon Jackson.
Yes, I apologize if that's not
No, that's fine. That's fine. In a gray SUV, correct?
I think the color is actually green, but
Green? Okay.
it can be mistaken as gray.
Okay. And what make and model is that car?
It was a Mercury Mountaineer. I don't know the year, though.
Okay, that's fine. So they're in a Mercury Mountaineer during this incident.
That's correct.
As you understand it, the lead up to this incident is Mr. Stillwell and Miss Duncan had, at that time, a 10-month-old daughter together, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And as you understand from your investigation, the plan was for Miss Duncan to come pick up Shannon, and Shannon was to go watch the baby at his grandmother's house, correct?
That is correct.
And his grandmother lives, I don't want to give addresses, but south of Grant Park.
I don't remember, but if you say that's what it is, I don't remember. I'm sorry.
A couple miles from JJ's Fish.
Yes.
Okay. And so Miss Duncan had asked Miss Jones to drive her to pick up Shannon on Lakewood Avenue.
That is correct.
Okay. And Miss Duncan and Miss Jones are friends or knew each other prior to this incident.
That's also correct.
Okay. And your understanding is Mr. Stillwell did not know Miss Jones prior to this incident.
As he explained it to me, he did not know Mrs. Tiara Jones.
Okay. So Miss Duncan and Miss Jones is driving her green SUV.
That's correct.
And they pick up Shannon at Lakewood and they decide to stop at JJ's Fish. It was JJ's Chicken and Fish?
I think it's JJ's Chicken and Fish.
JJ's Chicken and Fish at the corner of University and Pryor, correct?
That's correct.
All right. And at JJ's Chicken and Fish, you learned from Shannon that he saw Bobby Hardy. I think he referred to him as Smoke.
That's correct.
And I just want to correct you. I think you said Jamal Ward. You meant Jamal Baines, correct?
No.
Oh, it was Jamal Ward?
That's correct.
Also Merle?
Yes.
Okay. At that location.
1192 Pryor. That's correct.
And he saw them going in and out of a red Camaro.
I think it was in and out of the Chevron and back and forth to the car and inside the Chevron.
And he took note of their presence, but he had no interactions with them at all.
That is correct. He did not have any interaction with them.
Okay. And you were able to obtain the surveillance video from the parking lot of the JJ's Chicken and Fish.
That's correct.
And the surveillance video corroborated that information.
That's correct.
Okay. So, your understanding, Mr. Stillwell goes into the store, orders food, waits for the food that he's going to take back to his grandmother's house.
That is correct.
Okay. And at some point, the red Camaro leaves, takes a left.
Now, this witness is actually different from any other witness that we have seen actually called by the state that didn't work for the state. Now, this witness is actually very professional in the court world, meaning unbiased. With the sign that we've seen from the state and the pattern of behaviors, never a good sign when it comes to the state's narrative in that case. Let's dig.
Mr. Jackson gave you, Mr. Stillwell gave you the number of his grandmother.
He did.
And he told you he lived with his grandmother.
I think on two different occasions, yes, he told me he lived with his grandmother, but another time, he told me he was concerned about getting his house shot up and his grandmother. So I'm not sure if that meant because he lived with his grandmother or if it's two different addresses. But I am of that opinion initially, yes.
Okay. So your understanding is this SUV is traveling in the direction, Miss Jones is traveling a route that was being dictated to her by Miss Duncan.
That's correct.
Okay. And in this route, suddenly, a car speeds up behind this SUV that has Mr. Stillwell in the backseat.
That is correct.
Okay. And the engine's revving.
That's correct.
Okay. And there's high definition lights that led Mr. Stillwell to believe that that was the same car he saw in the parking lot of the JJ's.
That's correct.
Okay. And then immediately, well, almost immediately after speeding up behind, gunshots ring out.
That's also correct.
Okay. And there's about 20 shots fired at the green SUV that Ms. Jones, Ms. Duncan, and Mr. Stillwell are in from this car that's speeding up behind them.
That is also correct.
That green SUV is hit in the rear What did you say, the rear liftgate? Is
At
that-
the rear lift gate, that's correct.
Okay, and also the back windshield was shattered, correct?
That is correct.
And according to Mr. Stillwell, upon being hit, the car starts to roll and flip multiple times.
That's correct.
And of course, sadly, you know through your investigation that the driver of the SUV, Ms. Jones, was hit in the face with one of the bullets fired from the car that was speeding up behind him.
That's also correct.
Okay. And she lost control of the car.
She did.
Mr. Stillwell told you when the car finally stopped flipping over multiple times, he couldn't breathe, and Ms. Duncan had her injuries, and sadly, Ms. Jones was deceased.
That's correct.
Okay. The defects that you observed, you took note of the defects in the car,
I did.
and they were all in the rear.
The ones that I took note of, they were all in the rear.
Okay. And that is consistent with the information that Mr. Stillwell gave you.
Yes, it was.
Okay. You collected shell casings,
I think approximately 12.
12 shell casings, and they were all from what kind of gun?
The caliber was a 7.62 caliber.
Okay. And the gun that you found on the scene is not the type of gun that would shoot 7.62 caliber ammunition.
That is correct.
Okay. And there was no other shell casings found on the scene from any other guns.
No other shell casing, just the ones that I mentioned.
There is absolutely no evidence at all that any shots were fired from that green SUV, is there?
No evidence at all.
Okay. And you, in fact, not only collected video from the JJ's parking lot, but you also drove the route and looked for, were they city-owned video cameras on the street?
They were. I found out they were owned by the city. That is correct.
Okay, how many different cameras did you find on this?
I'm not certain of the exact number. I might have mentioned it in my police report, but I did take note at that intersection. There was what I thought were security cameras or traffic cameras at that intersection of Milton and Hank Aaron.
Okay, and there's also a traffic light at Milton and Hank Aaron, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And so, why did you spend your time looking for these surveillance cameras?
Well, again, there was not a lot of people that were willing to tell me what happened or even saw it. So I have to rely on cameras or, of course, the testimony of the witnesses.
Did you view that as an important part of your investigation?
Absolutely.
Did you want to make sure you collected all video in a timely manner?
Absolutely.
All right, great.
Which is, again, I think that contributes to the reason why he was willing to speak with me.
And in fact, he requested to write a letter of remorse to Terry Jones's family.
That is also correct.
And he did so.
He did.
Okay. He brought it up to you that someone had shot at him at the Green store.
Yes, he did.
And a bullet grazed his forehead.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then he in fact told you that people came up to him in the club and said, "You're lucky the gun jammed. Next time it's your ass," correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And then, of course, there was this incident.
That's correct.
At the time of this incident, you discussed what was going on with Mr. Stillwell. Mr. Stillwell denied any involvement in the murder of Donovan Thomas, correct?
I don't think I specifically asked him that question. That wouldn't have been the focus of my interview. I think another detective might have asked him that, but I didn't specifically ask him that. That's not something that I was interested in knowing.
Well, at the time of this shooting, you did ask, when you were with the gang investigators, the name Kenneth Copeland or Woody came up, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And the truth is that at the time of this shooting of Tara Jones, Woody was in custody. He was in federal custody, correct? Well, you might not know where he was, but he was in custody.
That's correct. I did find out later where he was. That is correct.
Okay. And you spoke with Mr. Stillwell about the ongoing beef between Kenneth Copeland, Woody, and Shell Kell.
Yes, I did.
Mr. Stillwell referred to that beef as generational beef between those two individuals, correct?
He did.
He described the situation as they shoot at Woody and his people, Woody shoots back, correct?
That's correct.
And Mr. Stillwell was concerned because he felt that people perceived him as Woody's friend.
Yes, that is correct.
And that people were now shooting at him because Woody was in custody and they could not get Woody, correct?
I think I can infer that. I'm not sure if he specifically said that, but I was of the same impression.
Okay. Thank you. I have no further questions. Thank you very much.
Sure.
If you thought that was bad for the state, watch Steele's checkmate.
Morning, sir.
How you doing, sir?
Can I ask you a couple of questions about your efforts to obtain surveillance from businesses? Mm-hmm. I heard you say that at times it has to be done in a timely manner. I think you adopted that statement when asked for you. Is that fair?
Correct.
Can we just talk about your experiences with video surveillance from businesses for a moment?
Okay.
All right. Do they vary how long the images remain on the hard drive or in the cloud? depending upon the type of system that the business uses?
They do. It depends on the system. Some systems actually are just live feeds, so they're not actually recording. And other devices, of course, will hold it for maybe 1 or 2 days. So it all depends on the actual system and the storage that they have available.
Do you ever see some businesses hold it for more than 1 or 2 days?
Not often, but on occasion, yes. But again, it just depends on their system and the amount of storage that they have available.
Okay. If a surveillance video system holds it for 2 days, let's say, okay? So if it's today and tomorrow, well, let's do it this way. Yesterday and today.
Okay.
Okay? So if you run out today, you can get possibly yesterday's and today's is what I hear you saying. Is that?
More than likely, that's correct.
All right. Now let's say tomorrow comes, the 17th day of October 2024. Does the first day drop off and then you can get today and tomorrow? Is that how the systems work in your opinion?
In my opinion and in my experience, yes. So it will override the one that is the oldest. And so that means that the next one should be available.
So it kind of just makes room. It purges the oldest, makes room for the newest, and however long it's being kept for.
In my experience, that's correct.
Of course. All right. I want to thank you so much. Oh, did you ever see one where it saves for 2 days, or it's preserved for 2 days, the images on the surveillance camera, and then at the end of that 2 days, it's just all gone, then another 2 days? Or is it always the purge?
In my experience, it just purged.
Okay. I want to thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, any other defense attorneys' questions? No? Any?
So is it safe to say this was a horrible day in court for the state? Nah, in my personal opinion, man, the state just brought a new set of witnesses up. And what did they do when it came to furthering this case, or proving the state's theory or narrative? Absolutely nothing. As a matter of fact, again, it did the opposite. Now, with this witness coming up, as you saw, he had already said that there's a problem that he had the way that the state viewed and positioned his paperwork. How did Shannon actually become the suspect instead of the victim? And he almost died. Plus, he's the one who got hit at. The second thing that he actually pointed out was, again, these boys were not on the offense. They're on the defense, meaning that they're the ones getting hit at, hunted and sprayed. Make that make sense. The other thing that he actually pointed out, which was very good, what still came in and doubled back on, was that, hey, why did you go and actually check the surveillance? Because nobody would come and speak with me. I had nobody come forward. So he went and did what? His own investigation, has the reports to back it up and support his theories, his narrative, plus the camera surveillance from the different locations. When you look at the actual Atlanta detectives, what did they do? Lazy jobs. Where are the reports? We don't know. The system got hacked. The stuff that didn't get hacked, we got pieces of it. But of course, the pieces that y'all have are only popping up to shape the state's narrative. But why is nobody else correlating the actual theory with the state's narrative with this RICO trial? And RIP to the lady that lost her life in this unfortunate event. And man, can you say today was definitely another W for the defense? Man, y'all jump in the comments, let me know y'all's thoughts. Did the defense take another W today? And was this another time waste by the state? The prosecutors, when they came up there, why did they send Doodoo Brown and the other ADA up here? Did they look very supported today? Did you notice the separation? And did you see the looks on all of their face when they realized that these witnesses just help us do what? Fail this case. Man, I'm your host, Jay. Y'all jump in the comments, let me know y'all's thoughts. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you're not subscribed, tap that notification bell so you'll get the drops whenever I drop. And until next time, remember, the life you save might be your very own. Till next time, I'm your host, Jay. Gone.